Okay, so in a world where office buildings are practically ghost towns, there's a kind of real estate that's hotter than ever. And no, it's not flashy condos or giant skyscrapers. We're talking about the actual physical spaces where scientists are right now working on curing diseases. So yeah, let's dive into the story of the one landlord that Zoom just can't touch.
And really, this one sentence, it's the whole story. It is a simple, absolute, undeniable truth that has built a real estate empire. An empire that is completely immune to the work-from-home wave that has rocked pretty much every other industry out there.
So here's our game plan. We're going to look at this crazy paradox of empty offices and packed labs. Then we'll see what makes these buildings so incredibly special. We'll break down the strategy that creates these scientific superhubs, and finally, we'll take a hard look at the risks and, of course, the massive rewards in this super specialized market.
All right, let's set the scene. You know this story. Since 2020, traditional commercial real estate has been, well, it's been having a really rough time. Companies are ditching their big offices, leases are shrinking, and people are seriously questioning if we even need those huge city center towers anymore. But right in the middle of all that chaos, one sector is absolutely booming.
And this just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? It's the Great Divide. Over here, you've got your standard office building, just trying to figure out its future. And over here, you've got life science labs. These places aren't just nice to have. They are essential infrastructure. Demand is through the roof. The rents are premium, and the work just plain has to get done there, period.
And the company right at the heart of all this is Alexandria Real Estate, or ARE. You got to go back to 1994. The founder, Joel Marcus, had this idea that was kind of out there at the time. He saw the biotech industry starting to explode and realized, wait a minute, these scientists can't work out of a normal office. He understood that science itself needed a very specific kind of home, and he decided he was going to be the one to build it.
Okay, so let's get into what actually makes these buildings tick. Because to really get why ARE is so successful, you have to understand this one key thing. A lab isn't just four walls and a roof. It's more like an incredibly complex, fine-tuned machine that just happens to look like a building. The requirements are just worlds away from your typical office space.
And at the core of it all is something called the wet lab. This is where the actual, physical, hands-on science happens. You know, mixing chemicals, growing cell cultures, running samples through machines. It's messy, it's hands-on, and like it says right there, you absolutely, positively cannot do this from your laptop at the kitchen table.
Now just look at this list. I mean, the complexity is kind of mind-blowing. We are talking about floors that have to be strong enough to hold equipment that weighs several tons. The vibration control has to be so good that a truck driving by outside doesn't ruin a multi-million-dollar experiment. The air systems? They're constantly scrubbing and replacing the air to keep everything perfectly pure and safe. And redundant power, because if the power goes out for even a minute, you could lose years of priceless research. This isn't something you can just decide to build on a whim.
But here's the thing. Building these incredible machines is really only part of the story. The real secret sauce for R&D is that they build entire ecosystems. Their whole strategy isn't just about putting up walls. It's about intentionally creating these hubs where scientific breakthroughs are just more likely to happen.
And here's their playbook. It's got four main pillars. First, they're super picky about location. They only build in what they call megaclusters, places like Boston or San Francisco that are already packed with top universities and talent. Second, they build campuses, not just isolated buildings. They add cafes, gyms, and conference centers to get scientists to bump into each other and share ideas. Third, they handpick their tenants, creating this amazing mix of pharma giants like Pfizer and the hottest new startups. And last, and this is brilliant, they actually invest in their own tenants through a VC arm. It creates this powerful loop where everyone helps each other succeed.
And all of this leads to what is honestly the most powerful part of their story. See, Alexandria doesn't employ any scientists, but they provide the one thing that every single life-saving discovery absolutely requires, a place for it to be discovered.
I mean, think about it. By taking care of all the insane complexity of building and running a lab, Alexandria basically frees up the brilliant minds at companies like Moderna or Biogen to just do science. They take this enormous obstacle completely off the table, which helps speed up the whole process of finding new drugs. In a very real way, they're a silent partner in every single breakthrough that happens inside their buildings.
And if you want the financial proof, well, here it is. ARE's properties are consistently over 90% full, usually in the mid to high 90s. That is just unheard of in the world of commercial real estate. And why? Well, their tenants aren't going anywhere, and they lock them into long-term leases, often for 10 or even 15 years. It creates an incredibly stable, predictable business.
But of course, no business is a sure thing. So, for our last section, let's take an honest look at what's on the horizon for ARE. We gotta weigh the potential challenges against the really powerful forces pushing them forward.
So on the risk side of the ledger, these labs are super expensive to build, no doubt about it. And like any big real estate player, they feel it when interest rates go up. Plus, they're really concentrated in just a handful of cities. But then you look at the other side, the drivers. I mean, come on, we have an aging population worldwide that needs new drugs. We have scientific breakthroughs like CRISPR and AI that are making discovery happen faster than ever. And billions of dollars just keep pouring into R&D. That demand isn't going anywhere.
So we'll leave it with this final thought. The story of Alexandria is proof that for some of humanity's most important work, there is just no substitute for being there in person. It really makes you wonder, right? If this is true for curing cancer, what other kinds of creativity, collaboration, and big ideas are we potentially missing out on in our big rush to do everything from anywhere?